Beloved child, have you ever quietly looked upon your journey and wondered why your life has taken this shape? Have you ever felt that you are no longer as quick as you once were? No longer strong enough to do the things you once dreamed of? No longer standing in the place where you thought you would arrive? While deep within you, a sorrow quietly rises. One that is difficult to name. I know those questions. I have heard even the sighs you never spoke aloud. And I have seen the times you smiled at others, while inwardly comparing yourself to them. You see others running, while you can only walk slowly. You see them opening one door after another, while you must learn to be patient with your own limitations. But my child, in my eyes, your worth is not measured by speed, by achievement, or by the ability to do more than others. I see a lamp being preserved in the wind, and that lamp is more precious than you think. I did not call you to become a copy of anyone else. I called you back to the most beautiful part I placed within you from the beginning. The world often honors loud steps, great works, and victories that make others turn their heads. But in my kingdom, there are quiet acts of faithfulness that shine brighter than applause. A person who still knows how to pray when the body is weary, who still knows how to hope when tomorrow is unclear, who still knows how to love when they themselves need to be comforted. That person carries within them a kind of light that darkness cannot easily extinguish. You may think you are merely trying to survive each day, but I see you keeping the fire alive. And that fire does not only warm you, it also lights the way for those who are silently lost. There are small things you do that you think no one sees. You take your medicine on time. Go back for checkups, even when your heart is discouraged. Rebuild a healthy habit, even though progress is very slow. Choose silence instead of answering with bitterness. Forgive a little more the one who hurt you. Send a gentle word to someone who is weary. Smile at a person who needs to be lifted up. Or softly offer me a prayer for someone weaker than you. You think these things are as tiny as dust in a long day, but when they are placed in my hands, nothing is meaningless. I gather each act of obedience like a craftsman gathering precious stones, and I use them to build a life with a deep foundation, a wall of peace, a place of refuge for those who will one day need the quiet testimony of your life. Remember the story of the widow at Zarephath during the days of drought. She had no full storehouse, no strength to change an entire land, and nothing great in her hands. She had only a little flour, a little oil, and a heart standing at the edge of despair. But when the call came, she did the small thing she was able to do. She offered that little portion in obedience, and in the very place that seemed depleted, I caused provision to continue flowing. Do you see? Miracles do not always begin from abundance. Many times they begin from the little that remains, offered up with faith. So it is with you. You may not have much strength, many opportunities, or many things to show outwardly. But if you give me the remaining portion of today, I can make it bear fruit far beyond what you imagine. Therefore, do not despise your present life simply because it does not look like the picture you once drew. There are detours that are not meant to punish you, but to deepen your heart. There are delays that are not meant to steal your future, but to prepare you for a meaning more lasting than haste. There are tears that are not signs of failure, but streams of water softening the dry places within you. I know you have asked, why can I not live normally like others? But beloved child, sometimes the very thing you call abnormal is the place where I am teaching you to see life with more compassionate eyes. One who has suffered will know how to touch another person's pain more gently. One who has been slowed down will know how to be patient with those who are still staggering. One who has been weak will not easily look down on another who is weak. I am shaping you with tenderness, not to erase you, but to reveal your true beauty. There are layers of fear that need to be lifted away, layers of self-blame that need to be healed, layers of comparison that need to be removed, so that you may stop living like someone who must prove you are worthy. You were worthy of love before you ever did anything. You were known by me before anyone else acknowledged you. You were placed in my heart before the world had the chance to define you. So do not let your present limitations cause you to draw the wrong conclusion about your worth. A candle does not need to shine like the sun in order to be called light. A small stream does not need to roar like a great waterfall in order to soothe the thirst of a traveler. I want you to live, not merely exist. I want you to wake each day knowing that even if today you can do only one small thing, that thing can still belong to a greater plan. If you can only take one step, take it with me. If you can only speak one kind word, speak it with love. If you can only pray in a whisper, let that whisper rise like fragrance. If you can only rest, rest in trust. For even rest can be an act of obedience when you stop forcing yourself to be stronger than your strength allows. I do not ask you to burn yourself out to prove your faithfulness. I teach you to keep the flame steady, small but true, quiet yet unextinguished. One day, someone will be lifted up by the very way you persevere. Perhaps they will not tell you. Perhaps they will only quietly watch you through the seasons in which you endure, yet do not become bitter. They see you hurting and still being kind, limited and still hoping, tested and still keeping your heart tender. And one day, when they stand before their own abyss, they will remember the light in you and find courage to return to me. You think your life has no influence, but I am using your endurance as a signpost along the road for the weary. Not every testimony needs a stage. Some testimonies are written through a way of life, through the way you continue to love, continue to believe, and continue to choose what is good when no one applauds. My beloved child, let your heart open like soft soil after the first summer rain, like a clean vessel ready to receive precious oil from above. Do not close your hands because you have grown used to lack. Do not shut the door of your heart because previous seasons made you weary. And do not look at blessing with suspicious eyes simply because you have waited so long. I am your Father, the one who did not leave you in the scorching day, nor abandon you in the long night. The things I promise do not fade with the years. Do not weaken when circumstances change, and do not lose their power because of the times you trembled. When I call your name, I do not call by accident when I place my hand upon your life. I do not place it there only to withdraw it because you do not yet understand the whole path. Today, I want you to receive with a humble heart, yet not a timid one, with joy, yet not pride, with trust, yet not haste. For what I am doing within you is not a passing flash of light, but the beginning of a season prepared by my faithfulness. There are doors before which you once stood for a very long time, knocking again and again without hearing them open. You thought there was nothing left for you behind them, that the time had passed, that perhaps your prayer had dissolved into silence. But my child, I have not forgotten. There are doors that do not open early because what is inside has not yet been fully arranged. There are paths that must wait until your feet are steady enough. There are gifts that must be placed into the hands of someone who has learned to hold them with purity. I do not delay in order to hurt you. I prepare so that when you receive, it will not lead you astray. And now, as I cause pathways that seemed closed to begin shining, do not look only at the joy of the open door. Look deeper at the holy responsibility that comes with that expansion. Every new season I give carries within it the fragrance of hope, but also the weight of maturity. Blessing does not come only to make you rejoice. It comes to reveal how deeply you have been trained. Abundance does not only test the heart of the one in lack, it also tests the heart of the one who is lifted up. When you do not have much, you easily pray with earnestness. But when your table begins to be full, when your path begins to widen, when others begin to see the light upon your life, you need even more to remain close to me. Do not let what I give become the thing that pulls you away from me. Do not let joy become self-satisfaction. Do not let success cause you to forget the days when I carried you through the darkness. And do not let the praise of people replace my whisper in your secret place. I know your heart has been worn down by fear. When blessing draws near, you worry that you will lose it, that this good thing is too great, that perhaps you are not strong enough to keep it. But beloved child, I do not entrust to you what I cannot help you steward. I do not place a treasure in your hands and then stand far away watching you struggle. I will teach you day by day, through each choice, each way of speaking, each silence that needs to be kept, each boundary that needs to be raised. Remember that preservation does not come from gripping things tightly in panic, but from placing everything under my light. What is placed in my hands will not be rotted by fear. What is guarded with gratitude will not easily be stained by pride. Do you remember King Hezekiah? When I showed him mercy and added years to his life, he tasted a wondrous deliverance. Yet there came a moment when, before messengers from a distant land, he displayed the treasures in his house, showing them the silver and gold, the spices, the precious oil, and everything in his storehouses. The frightening thing was not only that outsiders saw the riches, but the moment when the human heart began to feel secure because of what it possessed, rather than because of the one who had preserved it. That story is not meant to make you fear blessing, but to remind you that every precious thing must be covered with humility. Not every treasure must be shown. Not every joy must be announced too quickly. Not every door I open requires you to invite the whole world to look inside. There are things I give that must be cherished in secrecy until the right time comes for them to bear fruit. Therefore, when I pour blessing into your life, learn to walk more quietly, more deeply, more steadily. Let gratitude be the garment you wear each day. Let prayer be the breath within every decision. Let humility stand before you like a faithful gatekeeper. When someone congratulates you, smile. But within your heart, remember that every good thing comes from a source higher than yourself. When you see yourself moving farther than where you once stood, do not despise those who are still walking slowly behind you. When you are placed in a spacious place, do not forget to feel compassion for those still in narrow paths. True blessing does not make you distant, it makes you softer, brighter, more generous, and more willing to bend down to lift others with the very hands that were once lifted by me. In this season, also beware of the small yet persistent doubts. They do not always come like a great storm. Many times they are only specks of dust falling day by day, gradually clouding your vision. A thought says you are not worthy. An old word reminds you that you will fail. A worry tells you that this joy will not last long. If you do not bring these things into the light, they will quietly cause you to live like someone still imprisoned, even though the door has opened. I did not free you so that you would continue carrying chains in your mind. I did not give you a new season so that you would step into it with the posture of someone always waiting for disaster to happen. Let me heal the way you receive. Let me teach you to believe that good things can also remain, that peace is not a stranger, and that joy does not always announce loss. However, do not confuse trust with carelessness. What I give must be guarded by a life of order. Be careful with the old habits that once drained your strength. Learn to choose whom to share with, where to be present, which words to speak, and what to leave in silence. There are conversations that do not nourish the light within you. There are invitations that only distract you from what matters. There are closenesses that seem harmless but gradually pull you away from peace. When blessing expands the scope of your life, you need gentle discernment all the more. Not everyone is meant to enter the place I am building within you. Not everyone understands your new season. And you do not need to convince everyone. You only need to be faithful to what I have entrusted to you. Beloved child, I want you to understand that what is opening before your eyes is not an accidental crack in ordinary days, nor a small opportunity for you to try stepping into if it feels convenient. It is a pathway prepared by the wisdom of heaven, a door placed at the right time after long seasons in which you thought there was only silence and waiting. There were years when you walked in the darkness of hiddenness, when no one saw all that you endured, and no one could measure all the times you still chose to believe while holding no clear evidence in your hands. But I watched every step you took through the dry places. Every night you rose again in tears. Every time you wanted to let go, yet quietly said, I still believe. And those very things have become the stone foundation for today's threshold. What I am leading you into is not merely an outward change, but a new level of calling. It connects the hidden days with the days brought into light. It connects the place where you thought you had been forgotten with the place where you will realize everything had been arranged. It connects the quiet cracks within your heart with the healing water that will flow through the very places once dry. But before you step through, I need you to be watchful, for the adversary is not afraid of the words you speak when your emotions rise high. It fears your steady obedience. It fears the moment you stop hesitating and truly set your foot into what I have prepared. It has no authority to lock the door I have opened, so it tries to slow you down. It cannot erase my promise, so it tries to make you doubt yourself before you touch that promise. You will recognize that this resistance does not always appear in a fierce form. Sometimes it comes as a small matter that must be handled immediately, a concern that sounds reasonable, a quiet voice telling you to wait a little longer, to be more certain, to leave it until tomorrow. Sometimes it wears the appearance of false wisdom, whispering that you are not ready enough, that you are too late, that what you feel is only a fleeting surge of emotion. It will remind you of the times you hoped before and were disappointed, of the doors that once seemed open and then closed, of the words others once spoke that made you hesitant. But my child, not every voice that sounds within you comes from me. There is a voice that makes you peaceful and strong, and there is also a voice that paralyzes you in uncertainty. Learn to recognize this. My guidance may be solemn, but it does not suffocate you. My correction may be deep, but it does not drown you in shame. I know you have wondered whether you are worthy of such a great door. You look back at the times you were weak, the seasons when you fell behind, the decisions that were not complete, and you imagine that the past has the right to stand before you like a gatekeeper. But I speak to you with the tenderness of a father. What I open for you is not based on your perfection, but on the sincerity you have kept in the days of testing. I am not looking for someone who has never trembled. I am looking for someone who, even while trembling, still lets me hold their hand. I do not call you because you have never fallen. I call you because, after every fall, you still turn toward the light, and in the very place where you thought you were weakest, I was quietly forging within you an endurance you have not yet recognized. Remember Gideon, who once hid in secret to thresh wheat because he feared the enemy in his own eyes. He was small, his family was not distinguished, and his heart was full of questions. But I did not look at him according to the fear covering him. I looked at him according to what I had placed within him. When the call came, he did not step out with the appearance of someone who understood everything. He stepped out little by little, with trembling questions still on his lips, with a heart that needed reassurance, with hands not yet used to holding a great mission. Yet through step-by-step obedience, the one who thought himself weak became an instrument of deliverance. Do you see? I do not wait until you feel strong before I call you. Many times, my calling itself is the path by which you become strong. The door does not open because you are no longer afraid. The door opens so that you may learn that fear no longer has the right to rule your steps. Therefore, do not view the season you have just passed through as punishment. The years you walked through dryness are not evidence that I was far from you. They were the school of endurance, where I taught you to stand firm when there was no applause, to keep the lamp burning when dawn had not yet appeared, and to say yes even before the reward was visible. There are things within you that can only be deepened in silence. There are roots that only find water when the soil above becomes harsh. There are prayers that seem to fall into emptiness, but in truth were gathered like fragrance before me. Not one tear has been forgotten. Not one faithful day has been overlooked. Not one time that you chose what was right under pressure has gone unrecorded by heaven. Now, as the pathway opens, I do not want you to run in haste, but neither do I want you to stand still because of suspicion. There is a difference between waiting in faith and delaying because of fear. Waiting in faith makes you deeper. Delaying because of fear makes you smaller. Waiting in faith keeps you near me. Delaying because of fear causes you to circle endlessly in unanswered questions. You must discern the difference so that you do not call hesitation humility. Do not call avoidance caution. And do not call weariness a sign that you must give up. When I place a step before you, I also provide enough grace for that step. You do not need to see the entire road before you lift your foot. You only need to know whose hand is leading you. But I also remind you that great blessing requires a guarded heart. When rain falls on a cracked roof, water will flow into the open gaps. So before abundance comes, I am adjusting within you the cracks of doubt, the hidden corners of insecurity, and the habits that make you easily pulled away from focus. I do not only want you to receive, I want you to be able to preserve what has been entrusted to you. I do not only want you to pass through the gate, I want you to stand firm on the other side of the gate without losing purity, humility, and peace. Some people only pray for doors to open, but do not prepare their hearts to live in a wider space. But you, I am preparing so that blessing will not lead you astray, but will make you more useful, more tender, and more radiant. Beloved child, I want you to quiet your heart and listen, not with fear, but with the watchfulness of one who has gone far enough to understand that familiar things are not always the places where you should remain. There comes a point in the journey when I do not only sustain you with comfort, but awaken you with truth. That truth is sometimes not as soft as a lullaby, but it is the light that leads you out of the dim places you once mistook for peace. You are entering a very sacred turn, where I will no longer allow you to keep your eyes closed in the name of kindness, nor allow you to use tolerance to cover the signs I have placed before you many times. I am not calling you into suspicion. I am calling you into clarity. I do not want you to live closed off in fear, but neither do I want you to open your heart to every door and then wonder why your peace keeps being drained day by day. For a long time, you thought that if you treated others sincerely, they would bring the same heart toward you. You believed that closeness was proof of safety, that those who had been near you for a long time surely could not be the source of your weariness. But my child, there are shadows that do not stand far away. They can walk beside you, speak gentle words, smile in familiar gatherings, and still carry unclean intentions within their hearts. I do not say this to make you bitter, nor to make you look at others with harsh eyes. I say it so that you will stop blaming yourself whenever you feel uneasy around someone whom your mind says is nothing to worry about. There are things the mind has not yet understood, but deep within you have already sensed. Do not quickly dismiss that quiet prompting simply because you fear becoming hard to approach. Many times, you have walked away from a conversation, feeling heavy. Yet told yourself, perhaps you were overthinking. Many times, you have felt the clarity within your heart being disturbed, yet assumed it was only tiredness, pressure, or a bad day. But I want you to recognize this. Not every burden is born from circumstances. Some burdens come from connections that are no longer rightly placed. There are presences that do not knock you down immediately, but each time they touch your life, they take away a part of the lightness I have given. They do not need to destroy you with a loud noise. They only need to make you gradually grow accustomed to confusion, accustomed to doubting yourself, accustomed to losing peace while still calling it normal. Therefore, in this season, I am teaching you a kind of wisdom that is not loud. It is not a wisdom that makes you cold, but a wisdom that keeps your heart from being led away by smiles that carry no light. You can love and still have boundaries. You can forgive without giving someone the right to enter the deepest places of your life again. You can wish someone well without continuing to let them sit in a position where they can shake you. Maturity is not enduring everything in silence. Maturity is knowing what should be carried, what should be laid down, who should be allowed near, and who should only be seen from a peaceful distance. Remember the story of Nehemiah when he was rebuilding the wall. That work was not merely placing stone upon stone. It was restoring honor, order, and protection for the people. When the opponents saw the work progressing, they did not only use force to stop him, but also used an invitation that seemed friendly. They told him to come down and meet them in the plain, as though it were only an ordinary conversation. But Nehemiah recognized that there are invitations not meant to connect, but to pull the one entrusted with a mission away from the place where they must stand. He did not need to argue at length, nor did he need to prove that his heart was pure. He simply continued the work entrusted to him. Do you see? Sometimes the trap does not come in the form of an attack, but as an invitation that sounds very reasonable. If you do not discern, you will leave the wall I am helping you build just to answer voices that did not come from me. Therefore, do not take lightly the moments when I cause you to slow down. When a door that once felt very familiar suddenly makes your heart feel heavy. When a relationship that once brought you joy now causes you to lose direction. When a word that appears gentle on the outside leaves a scratch within. Do not quickly force yourself to overlook it. I may be placing my finger upon a point you need to examine more closely, not so that you may judge, but so that you may be protected. Not so that you may condemn anyone, but so that you do not keep surrendering yourself to the things that weaken the brightness I am building within you. You also need to understand that your kindness is a gift, but without discernment, that gift can be used by others as an open door. I do not want you to lose your softness. I do not want you to become someone who is always suspicious, always defensive, always looking at life through a wound. But I want your softness to be placed in the light of wisdom. A beautiful garden still needs a fence. A precious lamp still needs to be placed where toxic winds cannot blow it out. An open heart still needs to know where it is safe to entrust itself, and where it should simply respond with courtesy and then walk away. Perhaps it will hurt when you realize that certain people are not truly meant for the journey ahead of you. Perhaps you will feel regret because you once trusted, once shared, once placed hope in connections that seemed lasting. But beloved child, the truth is not revealed to break you. It comes to free you from silent bondage. What I separate you from is not always something obviously bad. Sometimes it is simply something no longer fitting for where I am taking you. If you keep holding on to everything because you fear loss, you will no longer have enough space to receive healthy connections. People who know how to honor your peace. Hands that do not pull you down but walk with you in uprightness. So, from today onward, let me teach you to walk with open eyes and an unpanicked heart. You do not need to announce everything you recognize. You do not need to explain every distance you establish. There are holy withdrawals that take place in silence, yet save you from many years of exhaustion. Observe the fruit of a connection. After being near them, are you lifted into peace or pulled into confusion? Do you become clearer or increasingly confused about yourself? Do you feel respected, or do you always have to shrink your voice to keep harmony? These questions do not make you selfish. They help you remain faithful to the life I have placed within you. I am with you in this process. I am not telling you to discern on your own through fear, but to let my light shine upon each step. When you need to speak, I will give you words that are gentle yet firm. When you need to be silent, I will give you peace so that you are not pulled into arguments. When you need to move away, I will open a way for you to leave without losing kindness. And when you pass through this season of recognition, you will no longer confuse closeness with safety, familiarity with divine appointment, the noise of others with my gentle leading. You will learn how to love without wounding yourself, to trust without blindness, to open your heart without losing protection. Keep walking in the light. Beloved child, what I reveal is not meant to frighten you, but to set you free.